Oh, thank you so much for joining. For the listeners that may not know, you host a podcast called the Don't Drink the Pickle Juice podcast, and you also host a couple of YouTube shows, the No Ghost Writer YouTube show, and you also have like a one for a personal blog. What is that like?
Oh, thank you. Well, it's really great fun. I mean, the main thing for me is that I am a future barrister, so I'm going to be a lawyer. One day I'm going to be in the courtroom getting my, Annalise Keating on. And it means that conversation, communication, and advocating is really part of my whole thing. It's, I think, the common theme in all of my content. So with Don't Drink the Pickle Juice, it was inspired by Nicki Minaj's speech that I think on the My Time Now documentary. And she was basically saying that when a woman is assertive, she's a bitch, but when a man does it, he's a boss. And the overall thing of that speech was, she said, look, if I accepted the pickle juice, I would be drinking pickle juice right now. And so it was a powerful message of self-advocacy, of saying, look, it doesn't matter if other people want you to drink the pickle juice, don't, because if you do, that'll be the rest of your life. And so that's where the podcast came from. All of my friends, most of the people in my network, we're all hustling and trying to make our way in a capitalist industry. It's hard. There's pickle juice everywhere. And so looking at the rap and hip hop world for the first season has been really interesting, because we've looked at moguls who've done it, quote unquote, right. And we've also contrasted that against people who haven't made the mogul moves and have ended up, getting shagged out of a lot of money. So that's the podcast. And then No Ghostwriter is a YouTube show and platform that I created, really inspired by everything that was going on with Nicki Minaj in 2018, because at the time I was in my first year. Well, I did 1 year of law school, because I did 3 years of undergraduate. Then you do 1 year of intense law school. So you do like a 3-year degree in 1 year. So I was at law school and all of this was happening. And I realized that actually the kind of client I would want one day is Nicki Minaj, because I want to, because she's got a fascinating brand, and the value of her intellectual property is so high that I felt like she was being done a huge injustice with the lack of really quality analysis out there on the circumstances and situations she was involved with between 2017 and 19 and beyond. So yeah, thank you. So yeah, inspired me to start No Ghostwriter, and I just started with just doing these videos, and now it's a thing, and we're 14,000 subscribers and counting on YouTube. Got 2,000 followers on Twitter, and we're growing on Instagram too. So I'm really trying to just keep building it so that we normalize these really powerful conversations that ultimately are advocating for the integrity of hip hop by looking at the realities, and sort of taking away the clout chasing and the clickbait and just getting into the fact. We can really appreciate the art for what it is, and the artists too. So yeah.
No, because it's so true, and I said this last episode when I was on with my co-host, and it was like, for example, the situation that happened where there was, Barbs were attacking, Cardi B or whatever. When we were talking about that, it was like, and then the coverage of the media, other podcasters that are bigger than mine, we won't say no names, but it was very biased. You get what I'm saying? No one sees the other side. No one sees Nicki's side, and it's always this calculated move. And that's why I really enjoyed watching your videos, because you're one of the fewer YouTube shows that really show the truth, and not just, what people love just for clicks, or just because they want somebody on their show, or, a good relationship with a celebrity or whatever. I don't know. I mean, and you also started a digital media company called Planet Blessing. Can you give a listener what is that?
I'm just really pleased that you know this. So Planet Blessing, yes. My baby Planet Blessing has existed. It was under a different name, because what happened is that when I started law school back in 2017, I am entering the bar profession. I'll just give you some out and out there stats. In 2019, it recruited around 240 people for this apprenticeship that we have to do to practice. So you only get around 240 people who got in 2019. Of that number, only 13, that's 13, were Black. And that's any Black, whether that's Black mixed race, Black British, Black anything. There were 13. And historically, it is a very institutionally elitist profession. So seeing Black women in the bar, let alone Black women working in commercial law, so that is law where there's very high value cases dealing with big business and so on, is almost non-existent. And so I knew at the beginning of my journey, from when I decided to do this as a child, that I was going to have to create the resources that weren't there for me. So I started Blessing at the Bar from that. And then it's grown and grown. And now it's an educational business. And so the branding lessons and the marketing skills and everything I was using with Blessing at the Bar, I also used with No Ghostwriter, and also used with the sister brand Shop Be at the Bar, which provides legal resources. And I've also worked with different charities and companies doing their marketing, their launch, creating their workflows. And I do that all under the umbrella of my company, which is now called Planet Blessing. And hopefully in the future, well, not hopefully, it's actually quite guaranteed in the future, I want to be spreading out the Planet Blessing formula, you know, how I manage nothing by focusing not on what's popular, but what do people want?
I think there's a little bit of connection problems. Hold on. Oh no.
It's me. Am I back?
Yes, you're back. I hear you.
Hi. Sorry. Where did you lose me?
I lost you when you said you were trying to help people that start from nothing.
Yeah, so that's it. And the social media, I think, strategy that always inspires me is Nikki's, because it's one of those great ones that it's not that, you know, people heard about Nicki Minaj because she got placement on some other big platform. She just started it on her own. And I'm that girl that also started multiple businesses from her bedroom. So I'm like, at the end of the day, there are so many pockets of communities in the world. And I think that the digital world there's no barriers. Look at me and you, we're having this conversation from other sides of the world. And that's it. There are no barriers anymore. You know, I was listening to this rap. I don't know whether it was Buddy, but they said, keep calm, have grace, my lad. You've got all the same tools that the greats have had. And it just made me think, you know, we have all the same tools as television broadcasting networks, and we're just in our rooms. Like there are no barriers anymore.
It's changing. I used to want to be on television so bad, but now I'm like, there's people making the same money on the internet. Like, exactly. Oh my goodness. So, you know, we have a common attraction to the rapper Nicki Minaj, and that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to have you on the show, because you talk about her so thoroughly. I just want you, if you didn't already explain this already, but what draws you to this specific artist, and what was like that one song that made you an immediate stan?
Okay, so it's gonna sound like a sad story, but I promise it isn't, because I've grown a lot, and it was a while ago. But when I was very, very young, I ended up in a relationship with someone who was older than me. That's not really the point. The point was, I got my little heart broken, like shattered into pieces. And the day it happened, I remember, I don't know, because I think I'd heard Bedrock already. So I knew, wait a minute, let me think, I guess it's my turn. Like, I knew that, and I heard Itty Bitty Piggy and stuff, because I was listening to a lot of Lil Wayne and a lot of Southern rap. So I'd heard of Nicki Minaj. At the time I was 13. So I, you know, was just a 13-year-old. But then this thing happens to me, and then I'm like, having my heart, like I've got a broken heart and I'm a preteen, like, and it wasn't anything that my Taylor Swift could handle. I was listening to my Taylor Swift, but it wasn't hitting. And then I felt like the R&B was a bit too grown. I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. So that didn't really resonate. But then I heard Pink Friday, and I remember I got my Pink Friday CD and I was like, why are her legs so long? That was my first thought. I was like, why do her legs look like that? And I looked at the cover up for so long. And then I heard Here I Am. And she said, I swear to God, man, everything in life is old. And the only thing that changed is the price of gold. Even in the afterlife, I'ma fight your soul. Because the second time around, I'll be twice as bold.
Okay.
And then it hit, because it just made sense. Because it's like this feeling of hopelessness I had, that I can never go back and stop that from happening, because it's happened now. But like this idea that, look, in the second time around, when I come and get another go, I'm going to get your ass. Like,
okay.
it was.
Period. No.
Like, no one else had ever spoken to me that way. And to this day, only Nicki gets that feeling of intense vulnerability, but also a sincere knowledge that you will get yourself through this. Like, it's not reflected, I feel, in any other artist's music for me. It's not. There is sincerity, there is reminiscing, there is that, but no one else explains that thing where that when inside you're in pain, but you also know that you need to go to war for yourself, and only you can do this. Like that. And that's how Nicki managed to speak to 13-year-old me, and honestly shaped my young womanhood, because every time my heart was broken, every time I was down, she was there with a perfect verse or a perfect album, and just something to just help me understand that I'm not the sum of my own pain and vulnerability. So that's why she got me. So she got me on that. Then as I started to grow up and become a young woman and I blossomed, her bad bitchery was perfect, because I needed that. Down in the DM remix was necessary, because people, man, really did hit me up in the DM, and I had the music.
No, Nicki is definitely is a confidence booster. I could definitely relate. Like my first song with Nicki was Massive Attack. Someone told me to watch it.
We got sometimes over here, bigger.
Yeah, and I'm so mad that she did not like it. Like when her talking about it afterwards, she said, I did not like the song, the video. I'm like, what? But
it's amazing.
It's amazing. No, I started listening to that, and I was like, all right, well, okay. Then I got the Pink Friday album. That was the first album I ever asked my parents for, right?
Hey.
And like, I think one of my favorite songs, and it could be common, Roman's Revenge, because I felt like at that time I was in 7th grade, I was getting bullied because of who I was and stuff like that. And I felt like, listening to Roman's Revenge, it kind of because that was about the Lil' Kim beef. And it just made me think like, I need to stand up for myself. And that's exactly what she did. And from there, I'd listen to her. I got all her albums. I see you got the vinyl in the background of Queen. Okay.
I got my Queen vinyl, my Queen merch. Queen gets played at least once a week in this household.
Okay.
I need Ganja Bun. So I just, what's the fashion icon, Audrey Hepburn? No, I love that story. And do you know that thing that Nicki did for us is what made me go hard and start No Ghostwriter? Because before No Ghostwriter, I was already going hard on Twitter, Instagram, in my social group. No one said you weren't going to talk mess about Nicki Minaj around me. Like that wasn't going to happen. I was on my stories. If I saw friends of mine were in the shade room comments hating, I'd screenshot their comment and be like, what's up with that? Like, don't talk to the Queen. Don't, and especially people, I was like, excuse me, don't think I don't see you being bold, writing hate comments to a woman you don't know. And so I realized that actually what I wanted to do is I will never be able to make Pink Friday for Nicki Minaj. Maybe I will. Maybe that's God's blessing. Maybe one day I'll do that for her. But what I can do is use my advocacy skills and make sure that she's not the only one fighting for the integrity of her brand. And what was amazing is that was just my idea. Then all of a sudden I see there's this community of literal millions of people who agree with me. and who are like, we're not letting anyone try and take her out. And then this energy that we built, then there is literally a fortress around Nicki Minaj now that is an industry recognized. You don't go there. And I think currently the only person that goes there is she who throws the shoes. So,
child, you know, I done already had my field day with her on the last episode, and I actually got a lot of positive comments because of it. You know, you really speaking the truth, because a lot of these blogs is not really saying nothing. They're not really speaking on it. You follow the Nicki Minaj topic, and you're mad because people are coming for you, and it's in your algorithm. I'm not even gonna get into that. You know, this is not about she who throws shoes. I do want to say
she who throws.
You said on podcast, you talked about how Tiffany Haddish had talked negatively about Nicki, insinuating that she doesn't treat people with respect. And as you know, the pop culture commentator Wendy Williams echoed the same thing. Lonnie Love said the same thing as well, or said something to that extent as well. My whole question is, what was the reason? Like what I could see if she was on Queen Radio cutting it up like she did back in 2018, but like, where do you think this is coming from?
I personally think Wendy Williams, I'm not sure. I think Wendy Williams is the executive producer of her stuff. I think she knows exactly what she does and when she does it and why she does it. But sometimes I don't know whether a lot of Black entertainers are quite aware of the function that they play in the circus. I don't know whether they are aware of that, because something for me, for example, is, you know, I would never try and speak on someone I had legitimately never met, right? I would never try and do that. I would never use them as a reference because I don't know that person. But I don't know what it is about Black entertainment in particular, where, and I think it's the shade room comments, is this culture of like really confidently talking about people you just do not know, you never met, you don't, and then it just becoming cultural canon because someone said it. I don't know it and that's really what confused me, because I'm like, honey, what are you talking about right now? Like, where is the basis? Where is the source? You know, and all of these articles, it's like Nicki Minaj feels this. I'm fairly certain she would just go to Apple Studios, go sit in her pink chair, press go live, and tell you what she felt. It's just fascinating to me that it's like you don't need to speak because the misogynoir, the cultural, the cultural canon will speak for you. Like, you don't need to say anything. We'll just fill in the gaps and then decide, you know, this is what the words that you said. And if you do speak, we'll then use that against you as well. It's just odd.
Yeah. And I think also when it pertains to Wendy Williams, like when she was talking about how, okay, because Meg got her Grammys because she knows how to treat people and behind the scenes and stuff like that. I'm like, I mean, not to call Meg a pushover, but it's like, are we promoting that female rappers should be pushovers in order to get the Grammy? That's how
they are promoting. They are. That's exactly what they're promoting. That is exactly what they're promoting.
You know, Nicki is very high strung on, you know, I need to get this correct. This needs to be correct because it all falls on me if it's not what it is. So yeah, if I come off a little abrasive, and we've seen her documentary series, and you know, that's just how that's how a lot of male artists are as well, but they don't get the same, you know. So you know,
they don't.
It's a double standard.
It's for me. I think it's beyond a double standard. I think it's a deliberate way of ensuring that, you know, female rap is a controlled captive market. I think it's a deliberate thing because I was listening to Deb Antony, Nicki's former manager, talking about, you know, how female rappers as a general rule are very expensive to sign and to maintain. So the upkeep of a female rapper it tends to be quite high. There's glam, there's hair, there's fashion, there's, all sorts of things that goes into it, just on a cosmetic level. So oftentimes labels look at them in the same way they do pretty much any other investment that requires a high output. They need a high yield, so they need a high percentage back. It's very hard to maintain that when your artist is able to control when and if they drop music, when and if they appear, when and if they speak, and if they do speak, what they say. You don't know where your investment is going. And so with the female rap, industry, by just looking at the Nicki Minaj Pink print, and in my view, also by the audience, the hip hop audience not being scrupulous enough to know when they're being sold, a manufactured product, it means that labels have absolutely no incentive to stop producing this narrative that female rappers need to be nice and complacent with the industry. They have absolutely no incentive to that, because they've all got significant options in all of these girls' careers, all of them, and except for the ones that are explicitly independent, like Cupcake. And look at the difference. In Cupcake doesn't get Teen Vogue write-ups. Cupcake doesn't get covers. Cupcake doesn't get Female of the Year awards. Cupcake doesn't get smoke blown up her ass because no labels have any options in what she makes. Right. And that is how that's the only way it can make sense to me, because I listen to what these women rap about, or what their ghostwriters write for them in some cases, and they're all rapping about being a boss. They're all rapping about being independent. They're all rapping about getting to their own money. How can that be the case when you don't own the rights to your own image or brand? You're just on the mouthpiece speaking, being puppeteered like this, because every time you do that, people don't look close enough to see that this is all just an industrial complex. So they're there rapping along, feeling the energy. Meanwhile, the song this female empowerment song that you're rapping to was written by a man. It's just smoke and mirrors. And that's why I want to bring a bit of discernment back to hip hop. More, what are the origins of these words? What did you do to back up that you say this? If you say you're a boss, what are you the boss of? Like Nikki says at the Pink Print Freestyle, I'm talking about my brand and you're talking about your brands. The difference is a lot of M's to your couple $100,000. And that's what is missing, in my view.
Yeah, I mean, and you brought up Cupcake. People, I think she made a tweet, and I think Akbar V also made a tweet talking about, the game is so boring right now. And it's like a lot of people are starting to notice things. Also, people are theorizing to the whole situation. People also theorize that because Nicki's working on her NM5, people are trying to restart the hate train, and that's why you see a lot of these people coming out.
Yeah. This is 2018 again, except this time we're woke, we're ready, and they can't come for us. They absolutely cannot. We weren't ready 2018.
I think we wasn't
ready. But now we are.
Yeah, and we were also blindsided in 2017 because it was 2017 was really when we seen this shift, because that's when we got the Remy Ma beef, and then that's when we got this Bodak Yellow was pushed to number one, and then that's when everything was out of whack. And in 2018, I believe that's when that was the Queen era, right? That's when she dropped Queen.
Yeah, so she dropped Queen. And I remember when she dropped Chun-Li and Barbie Tings in the Easter, so this time that in 2018, it was I think that's it. I just don't know. It was crazy to me to see how blatantly people were waiting on Nicki Minaj to drop music. The music calendar the female rap calendar that year was literally Nicki Minaj movements. It's oh, it looks like Nicki Minaj is going to release. Then we'd get someone releases something. It was oh, Nick. And then it was too much.
Yeah.
We were just what the hell? And also, Barb's, I included, was happily just streaming, enjoying, just, you know, supporting, thinking, yeah, everything's come. I didn't know that I myself, that, you know, my community, my listening community was deliberately being, you know, used by labels that like intention was to manipulate our outrage.
Right.
To promote artists. I was like, what the hell?
And then it was a lot of gaslighting when it came to Nicki doing her media circuits to promote the album and stuff. There was a lot of people asking, "Oh, did she really have an issue with her? What's your issue with Cardi?" And this was before the beef. This was before the Harper's Bazaar. This was the promotion of Queen, and there was a lot of people on the radio that were asking about her. And then until she was like, "Well, there must be a problem because y'all keep on asking me about her," and I thought we chopped this up back in Met Gala. So I mean, it's a
yeah.
I think the media had a lot to deal with it, and unfortunately, at that time, you know, I didn't really have a show, I didn't have a platform to talk about these things, and I was just like, oh my goodness, there's a whole lot of things that's just like going on that's trying to keep her down, and it's hard to watch.
It was hard to watch. It was hard to just be privy to that, to see. So, and I lost a lot of faith in the actual integrity of hip hop at that point, because I just didn't know what the message we were supposed to communicate was. Because the way I see it, this is slightly tangential, but you know, when people are talking about Black love, right? And they say, okay, well, if Black men don't want to see Black women dating white men, I'm not saying I hold these views, it's just the conversation. If Black men don't want to see Black women dating white men, they need to treat Black women better, because the first people to disrespect Black women are Black men. So when people say those narratives, it kind of reminds me of this, because it's like, I look at it and I think, hang on. The way hip hop treated its actual crowned queen set a precedent for how every other female rapper of notoriety will be treated. And I know right now, for some of the girls, it feels good. Like, it feels nice. It feels, you know, ooh, I'm everywhere. Like, ooh, I'm the girl. I'm sorry. If they did that to the bona fide queen, like the one that they all know is the queen, what on God's green earth do you think they're going to do to the ones that they know aren't the queen? Like, they know don't actually do this rap shit. Like, because the thing is, you know, Shay Noir, really cool female rapper you should check out if you haven't heard of her. She has this really interesting bar. She says, you don't give a man the power to feed you, because then you give him the power to starve you. And I think that's what the female rap industry has done. They've given the media so much power, right? Social media, so much power, that right now it's good, but they now have given the power, their career is in the hands of a subjective and impressionable medium. And right now it's okay, because he who controls the narrative, you know, controls the market for now.
Right.
But as we've seen with the emergence of like all of these very positive comments about Nicki hasn't said a thing. Nothing that much has changed. It's just the effect of time.
Right.
Time is powerful, and time will reveal, you know, that, because I've got friends, you know, I had a friend of mine, and they were dancing to some TikTok song, some female rap TikTok song. And I said to them, out of curiosity, do you like this song? They're like, oh God, no, it's awful. I'm just bored. It's fun. Like, what? I would hate that if that was me. If that's what my material was. Like, what? Like what? They're just listening to it for shits and giggles right now because they're bored, and I'm like, no, that's not what hip hop was for. This is black art, bro. Like, exactly. Come on.
I see a lot of female rappers that are starting to emerge out, and they're pandering to this TikTok culture, this TikTok dance culture. They're making dances now, and I'm like, we're forgetting, we're not getting to the music.
There is no music. Ugh. There is no music, Darren. I haven't heard. Oh, sometimes if it wasn't for Nicki's catalog, and I hate to say this, and I am gonna feel so bad saying this. I hate to say this, but really, even the men in hip hop, like, I'm seeing a small but significant contingent of male rappers who are like, no, this has gone far enough. We got to bring it back to bars. Like, this is going to be bars. You know, that they're pushing hard. You know, they're collaborating with, you know, old legends. You know, they're reaching into the archives and seeing if they can get a verse from someone on Wu-Tang, or get, you know, Busters popping out, LL's popping out. And what's going to happen, right, is once again, it's all on Nicki Minaj. In my view, once again, it's all on Nicki Minaj to do. And I'm like, why does she have to do that? Why did she have to do all of that work just to have her sons run out the playpen and cause a big ass mess? And now she has to be the one to say, look, not only was I the martyr for female rap, and fuck it, just pop rap, like, you know, popular hip hop. She was the martyr for that. Then she's the martyr just over the hate train. And now it's Nicki, come back. Nicki, come back. Nicki, we need you. Nicki, please come back. Nicki, please come back.
Y'all don't know what y'all want. When she here, it's a problem. When she not here, oh my goodness, she should have got a Grammy and this, and that. It was crazy as hell. When the Grammy came out and she was trending on Twitter, like it was for a couple of days. I'm like,
yeah. So I personally think it's all on her but and I don't think it should be. I'm saying it is, but it shouldn't be.
I do want to circle back at your No Ghostwriters podcast. You said this earlier, but shout out to you for getting 14K subscribers. I did see that you were able to do this in like a year.
Yeah, we did it in a year. It's our anniversary on the 18th. So yeah, in a couple of days. And we did it in a year. I can't remember. I just wanted 1K sub.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's incredible, because I remember it is hard to get into the YouTube business. Like, it's, well, for me, I can only speak for me because I've been trying, like, I tried 3 full times before I actually was like, nope, we're going to do Darren Green TV and we're going to post my podcast stuff on it, and I'll do more in the future. But like, just to see that you were able to captivate that many people and get that many subscribers, and it's, and with all the changes in social media, the algorithm,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's like, and I do have a question, because I'm on YouTube too. Like, when did you start getting like the community tab? Because
1K, you get it at 1K subs.
I think that's so bad. Like, once I get like, it seems like when you have to have enough subscribers to like get the perks, and that's really gonna help.
But don't worry. We're gonna definitely show you love on No Ghostwriter, and this is gonna, like, we're gonna make sure we cross post, make sure that people know what's good.
Thank you.
Let's go. And I'm proud of you. I'm seeing episode 121. The C is for consistency.
Yes, I've been doing done. 3 years. I said, look, I'm at this college. I love college. I don't want to sit there and say anything ill about it, but like, I need to get to this work. You get what I'm saying? Like, these classes, you take a lot of classes that really is not going to amount to nothing when you get out into the working force. So I'm like, let me start this podcast. I was like, what? Maybe sophomore or junior year or whatever of college. I was like, let me start this up. I got Derek Dahl to be my co-host. That was like a year later. We was in the second year, and then now, we're reaching the third year. Well, actually, no, this year will be the fourth. But I'm just so happy that it elevated in the way that it did, and we're starting to grow on YouTube now. And I'm just
I love growth. Honestly, I love growth. I love consistency. This is great energy. I'm just finding it's ridiculously cool to have met you and be able to talk to you, man.
Vice versa. Like, I feel the same way. Now I want to talk about your After the Hate Train Hip Hop Has a Nicki Minaj Problem video. Okay. So you were saying that critical commentators and people on social media recognize that there was an agenda to erase Nicki Minaj. Now, I found it interesting because the Barbs have been saying this for years, and my question is, like, what was the switch? Why has the narrative changed? Because we see people like Joe Budden and we see people like Charlamagne. Well, Charlamagne's still kind of on the other side. But we see people like Joe Budden, and he's coming out and saying that, hey, Nicki deserved a Grammy, and there's this hypocrisy with her. We see other people, I don't have them in my head right now, but there's other people that has recanted what they said in the past. So the switch, like,
I think it's a combination of factors. The most obvious one is that people, I think people did think that they were a bit more influential over what was going on in the music industry than they actually were. And I think that people actually thought that their, like viral hate tweets meant something. And I think also people thought that, like, I honestly do. And I think actually over time, people's able to see the massive power of this industry, like artists that they've never heard before going number one, artists that for all intents and purposes don't make good music, just to be frank, going number one and winning awards. I think that started to make people realize, like, wait, what? And Doja Cat at the Grammys as well, I think, was particularly a thing for people on Grammys night, because all I'd seen people say for about 2 years is how much Doja reminds them of Nicki, da 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 da. And then Doja gets totally snubbed, and it's like
robbed.
Whoa. And then I think that was a later event. I think another more long-term thing that's led to this switch is the oversaturation of content. So Nicki, I don't know whether she means to do it or just because she does whatever the hell she wants, but she just goes on hiatus. She's just gone. Like, no explanation, no reasoning. She's just not there. And scarcity is the most powerful PR. And if you compare, you've got girls working to make sure they can still be rich in a 360 versus Nicki Minaj, who's not there, but it's like the content is still competing. How does that make sense? How is Nicki still on TikTok going viral, but the girls are shucking and jiving the best they can to go viral, and she doesn't have to do a thing? And I think the more people saw that, the more people saw, wait, Nicki was the most streamed female rapper of 2020 on Spotify, and she's not here. Like, I think the more people started to see, like, oh crap, no, she's actually got like an indelible brand. Like, she is Nicki Minaj. Like, she was never gone. We were just led on to believe that she was gone. Right. But she was actually here the whole time. And I think that realization is what made a lot of people be like, wait a second, you know what? You're right. All we do have are TikTok rappers. And you're right. Everything is bad. And then the bar, like,
well, we've been saying this. now, I'm gonna give people.
But I think that's it.
Yeah, I'm gonna give people the benefit of the doubt. During this time of us waiting on Nicki, a Doja Cat and a Meg was kind of entertaining. They did their thing as artists. Yeah, you said. You was not with it. I mean, look, I was very critical about the Good News album, but the stuff that Meg did before was pretty good.
I didn't.
Huh?
I couldn't bring myself to listen to it. I'm really sorry. I couldn't bring myself to listen to it.
You didn't listen to Good News? See, now I did listen to it.
Good News had no good news for me.
I mean, like I said, it had a lot of skips, but it was a good couple songs on there that I listen to on a regular basis. I mean, Doja Cat's Hot Pink was good too. I just felt like with her.
Megan.
Huh?
No, I'm saying I'm here for Megan, like Megan the human being, like just Megan the girl, the woman. I'm here for her. And I feel like Good News wasn't Megan the woman. Good News was the first attempt at Megan the brand. And I don't care for that. But Megan the woman, I'll watch her vlogs and I'll, do her little hottie boot camp workout. You know what I mean,
her story is entertaining.
I don't care for the brand.
Yeah.
But the brand, I don't buy into. So that's why I didn't want to listen to the album. It wasn't for me.
Okay. Also,
I mean that in a good way. Like,
no. We have the same opinion. Like, no, I'm telling you, my co-host grilled me because I was very critical about Good News because I felt like it didn't really, for me, and I'm not trying to be like a hating Barb, but like it just, I wanted that oomph, like that first album, like crazy, like, oh my God, like this is good news. It was big. I thought it seemed like a mixtape. Like it seemed like, another EP or something.
Yeah, so
like,
that's why it felt like I could miss it. It didn't feel unmissable.
Yeah, like when
I feel like an album has to feel unmissable. Like, bro, if I don't listen to this album, I'm not getting the picture.
Like when Nicki came in with "I'm the Best," that was the first song on the Pink Friday album. That was one of my favorite songs too. Like it just was monumental. I'm gonna even say this. Invasion of Privacy. I think what it was, Get Up 10. Dope introduction to the album. Like it had a beginning. It had like a clear beginning. Now, how I feel about it now, it kind of didn't age well for me, but like it still was a push for me. I just, with Meg Thee Stallion, I was like, what is, like, I mean, the songs can almost sound the same. It didn't, like, when she was doing the promotions for like the videos, it seemed like she was trying to do like TikTok dances, sequences in her video. I was like, oh, really? We're pandering to TikTok. I get it. TikTok is this new thing now. Like that's the way for your song to get, to go viral. I mean, but still, I mean, we gotta go back to the music making. But anyway, I wanted to ask, because I had this theory also that, are you thinking that people are now realizing what female rap looks like without a Nicki Minaj, and they're like, oh, this is where we don't want to go? You think that's the reason why a lot of people are
they 100% see. Yeah, people are like, wait, hang on, wait, stop. Pause.
Wait.
Like, is this all we have? It's like, yes, that is all you have.
Oh, I'm like,
well, at least that's all that's going to get shown to you. And I want to say that something that's true in 2021 is the same thing that was true back in 2008 when Nicki started out, or 2007. There are a wide range of female rappers. I am regularly listening to so much different types of music, women who are really spitting. However, and it's a big however, I have to dig and dig and dig to find them. I have to make sure I scan the right playlist. I have to, I'll even go to the point that sometimes I'll go on Twitter and read people's convos and see who they're listening to. And every one of my friends knows, if you hear an interesting female rapper, send them to me. I'm always looking for someone.
Right.
But why do I have to do that? When to get into, you remember that deep, meaningful content I was saying that men are making in hip hop? That content, all I had to do is literally click any one of the multiple Spotify playlists that curate these men regularly, even if they're small artists. I hear their shit. But with female rap, sorry, it's not you, it's my laptop. Just give me a sec.
Yeah. No, it's fine. I'm glad we didn't.
My laptop is very.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to get a new laptop too, because mine is starting this. But I wanted to switch gears a little bit. You also said, but I also like how you said, like, it's like the industry is like a toxic ex-boyfriend sending a future text. Like, because that is true. It's like they're like they exed her out, and now they're like, oh my God, please come back. Like, no, sorry, y'all want to be going. But no, let me switch gears. You also theorized that the state of female, you basically said the state of female hip hop is doomed to repeat what had happened to the female rappers back in the 90s. It's because they're ostracizing Nicki Minaj, who is an independent artist. I think this theory is very scary to think about because, like, we've seen what happened to the female rappers in the 90s. There was a lot of them, and then gone by the 2000s, arguably.
Yeah, by 2006 or 7, they were gone.
So they're doomed. So these new female rappers are doomed to repeat what had happened before because you said they're not independent, or they're not, or just a combination of they're not making good music.
I think that what has been allowed for men in hip hop, right, is these people trend in the industry are able to build these empires, whether it's Diddy, Jay, whether it's Drake with OVO, Wayne with Young Money, Kendrick, Cole with Dreamville, and even Kanye. People recognize them as an industry innovator. They recognize their independence. And as a result, those men are able to leverage that value to create a home for a generation.
Yeah.
One sec. I'm still here. Give me a sec. I'm just trying to make sure my battery doesn't die.
Right.
So what I'm saying is that these men are given the space they need to build this necessary pocket in the industry. One could argue if it wasn't for Cole, there wouldn't be space for rappers who don't pander to the industry in any way. Without Dreamville, one could argue we wouldn't have Buddies, we wouldn't have Jids, we wouldn't have that. And so I think because of what happened with the industry and Nicki Minaj, Pink Friday Records was deliberately stifled. I think because it was recognized that if we allow this to continue and Nicki inspires a whole generation of rappers with contracts just like hers, i.e. they get their money and building brands, we will have no share in this industry anymore. And I think it was all smoke and mirrors to distract Nicki from, I think, what was her ultimate mogul mission. Like she said right at the beginning, an all-female empire. That's what she wanted. And that has been deliberately shattered.
Because the narrative was she wanted to be the only one.
But in reality, all I see when I look at the facts is Nicki Minaj constantly shouting female rappers out at every stage.
People are just choosing not to see
but,
it.
You know,
perfectly. I mean,
but imagine if all of those girls were all signed to her.
It'd be a difference. And I did see she was trying to do that when she was promoting it on her Green Radio album. Like she's starting to sign artists. So I mean, I hope to see her do that, and we'll see like more natural and just better artists.
She's on her way to make Billy like a big goat.
Do you think the hip hop industry is doing this intentionally though? Because let's be real, female rappers are the moment right now. They are the moment. And you know, if I think about any male rappers that are, you know, topping the charts that are getting these Grammys as well, or getting nominated or considered, you see like DaBaby, Lil Baby, Roddy Ricch here and there. Like female rappers are the moment right now, and I think maybe the industry doesn't like that for misogynistic reasons. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you, because I've been listening to some raps, and you know, there's a few men saying a few things here and there about how they don't rap hip hop's got, and there are clear references to this phenomenon in this era. I think also a lot of simultaneously and the hip hop industry itself don't know what to do. They created this machine, made all this hype, and they don't know what to do now. It's like, okay, so where do we go with this? We've milked all of the hype. Now we've got hype. We're here. So I think the clever ones like Megan is working on her endorsements, her branding. She's getting into gaming, which I think is smart. I don't know what Who Throws the Shoe does. Don't watch a single thing she does, but I'm sure hopefully she's doing something a bit smart with all of this energy she's got. Doja, similarly, I hope she's doing smart things, because as Jay-Z very, very wisely said, you're only in that white hot light for a moment. If you're lucky and you're like him, your moment is for years. But if you're not, you make the most and you keep, like, you know, you think big. And I don't think a lot of people know what to do. I think a lot of girls sat in their bedroom and dreamed of being Nicki Minaj. And then they're on the platform and they're like,
what do I do now?
what do I do now? Like, it's like, well, what are you going to do now? You got what you wanted. So tell us, speak. And I think a lot of people are like, Yeah, I think I want a Nicki feature.
Right, like that's okay. Now everybody want a Nicki feature, child. Because I heard that that duo over there.
No features. I want NM5 with no features. Come on,
No features,
Queen.
okay.
Spit.
I'm happy for that.
Baby Simba, and that's it.
Yeah. Have you ever seen her in concert before? When things were open?
Yes. Oh my gosh, I've seen her twice. The Queen.
Oh,
I saw her for the Queen tour. I saw the Queen in London. That was my first album tour because I was a bit young. But I saw her in Paris when Beyonce brought her out as a surprise.
Oh wow. See, I felt a way about Queen because she only did the European tour and she didn't. I mean, unfortunately she wasn't able to do the American tour. I was like, oh my god, and I seen like some of the clips and I was like, oh, that looked like a good time. Like she really, and it's so crazy. Even that time, like when she unfortunately had to cancel some shows or whatever because of technical difficulties, and they said, oh, she didn't have the numbers and this that. So I'm like, she is what? Had the what? I've always heard highly. Yeah, I've always heard highly of her concerts. Like she puts on a show. Okay,
yeah,
so
I had friends with me that weren't and they were like, "This is the best show."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's people going people. I can't. That's why I do this show, because I want people to I want to tell the truth, because I feel like, you know, when I went to my classes talking, you know, I took journalism classes and we're always told to always tell the truth, no matter if it's not the popular opinion. And everybody wants to have their unpopular opinion. Everybody got an unpopular opinion, but it's always the same opinion. But go figure. I'm you know, I'll be here to tell the truth.
I really want to listen to this song called State of the Union by Marlon. I think it's Marlon Craft. It's so good. Like, I can't even, you are gonna love the lyrics. It's gonna be everything. It's gonna hit. Like, it's so, because he says, he references that kind of phenomenon. He says, you know, how many of you could actually trace your opinion back to an original thought?
Ooh. Okay.
And it's like, ooh. I listened to that bar. I was like, whoa, who is this guy?
And it's the lack of critical. Yeah. It's also the lack of critical thinking. I was very, like, with this whole Lil Nas X situation, and, you know, just not the, you know, because we're talking about something else, but, you know, it's on the same rap. But, like, it's like people's like, oh my god, like he's going to hell. He's over here. I'm like, y'all didn't get y'all didn't get what he was trying to say. Okay.
I was like, what the hell is this video? But I get the message. Like, I get messaging. So I'm like, understood what you were trying to communicate. I will not be watching Lucifer though. But I see what you were trying to communicate. The little church lady came out and I was like, oh Jesus, no. I clutched my pearls. I never thought I'd clutch my pearls because I watched Nicki Minaj all day and I'm just here like, ooh.
but see, I mean, she kind of did the same thing, not at that magnitude, you know, because he went all the way in, but with the whole Grammys performance, you know, and a lot of people, she got a lot of flack from that too.
And well, if you wanna join me over on No Ghostwriter and talk about that, I wanted to do that as a topic. So maybe we could do one of our live streams, our weekly live streams, and talk about it.
Oh, okay. Oh my goodness. So we gotta, really? Oh my god, thank you.
Well, after when we're finished, we'll talk about it, because that's on my. I wanted to talk about it this week.
Yes, I gotta end the show. Thank you so much for joining the show. I really appreciate you coming on and saying what you feel. And, yes. And for the listeners, thank you so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed the convo. And until next time, I am your host, Darren Green, and this is the Darren Green Show, signing out. If you like what you heard, please don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button and give us a 5-star rating. As always, enjoy the convo. Okay. All right, that's done. I had to make sure. Oh, all right.
Are we still live?
Yeah, we're still live.